start. We'll start the recording, and Steele, I think we'll just kind of turn it over to you, let you introduce yourself and a little background, and you can take it from there. Do you need to? Do you have any PowerPoint or anything?
Yeah, I do, and I think it will. Yeah, it'll allow me to share my screen here, so I'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is a really cool opportunity. I love talking to people who have a passion for this sector and possibly this crazy little product that we're making. So yeah, my name is Steele Wasik, and I'm one of the co-founders of EV Solar Kits. And really, what we're trying to do is develop a clean and portable way for people to charge their electric vehicles. So right now we are developing sort of our Halo product, which is custom tailored to the Model 3. And so I'm gonna give you guys like a abridged version of our slide deck to introduce you to the product and talk about our progress and then what the future looks like. And love to answer questions at any point or at the end, but please feel free to go ahead and interrupt me at any time. So hopefully we can all see this. All right, terrific. So like I said, we are EV Solar Kits, and the goal is to really be able to charge everywhere. So I'm going to start by playing the kind of the animated video to display, how the product works, how it unfolds, and kind of give you guys an idea. This usually answers a lot of questions up front. It's very difficult to describe this over the phone to people. So the system is comprised of a 400 to 500 watt rooftop flex panel, and then a kit of flexible panels that are then stored in the trunk. And this is all connected inside to a battery, an inverter, and then that will be wired in to the car battery itself. So the team right now is myself, CEO, and then our co-founder, Jonathan Rockland, who will be director of supply chain. He is an engineer by trade. He's worked for SpaceX and Square and GE. So we have developed the beta prototype and ran the testing ourselves. And now we've kind of shifted focus, and we have partnered with Jackson Hedden and SGW Design Works. These are high-end professional electrical engineering and design teams. They've done products like Peloton, One Wheel, the little one wheel electric skateboard, and they've done projects for Lamborghini, Gillette. So they make top tier products, and really we know that that's what we need when developing something like this. We've kind of ran out of what we're capable of doing in our garage. So bringing in extra help has been instrumental in making sure this is a product that we're going to want to slap onto our very expensive cars, which at the end of the day is what they are. So the problems that we faced, and really the reason we designed this product is, we're all familiar with range anxiety and what that means to us and how it limits how we use our vehicles. Another one being we're all charging with fossil fuels unless you have a home like residential solar system, which is actually my previous company and previous line of work. You're using fossil fuels to charge your EV, which really for me negates why I bought the car in the first place. It's more green than driving around a gas vehicle or SUV or whatever everybody had before an EV. But at the end of the day, we're really trying to achieve something close to net zero. Range plateau is an interesting fear. It's really, we've hit this sort of 200 to 300 mile range in our vehicles, and for the foreseeable future, it doesn't look like there will be any products developed in a very affordable way, sub $30,000 that will have ranges that exceed. We've got Teslas, and we've got Lucid Motors who are creating $100,000 cars that can go 500 or more miles, but really affordable cars for the masses are going to be stuck in that 200 to 300 mile range just purely based on battery material costs alone. Aptera is actually a really terrific company. I'm sure some of you are familiar with them, but they're making a three-wheeled car that is solar powered and incredibly efficient that will be very affordable. So they're the one exception, and I highly recommend everybody checking them out. Actually, the biggest fear for myself was really lifestyle aversion. You know, I wanted to go and take my car into the mountains and go hiking or backpacking or fishing. And I always ended up borrowing someone else's car to go do these things because I was worried that, you know, whether I'd run out of mileage or the phantom drain on a cold day would leave me stranded. But that was really for me why I built the prototype in the first place, was to give me a little boost when I was out doing some sort of shenanigans far away from the city. And so the lack of infrastructure is really problematic. And so we have a map up here of how centrally located all these charging systems are. So if you're not living in a major city, you probably don't have great access to them. And while, you know, road tripping has, you know, virtually been solved by the supercharging networks, placing them in, you know, in convenient locations for, you know, city to city trips. The growth of EVs is vastly outpacing the growth of charging systems. And so, you know, for those of you who have Tesla's idea to then share those charging networks with non-Tesla vehicles will be great for them, but incredibly detrimental for the rest. There's almost not enough to go around. So the wait times as well as the prices have increased in the past 6 months. We're now paying double for supercharging. So basically, you know, our product has a lot of different use cases. It's not for one specific person. It's for people who are having a problem in any of these facets. And so we really don't see any current solution. And so as you saw, you know, in the video, we've kind of developed our own product and our own solution to this. So as I said, it uses a 400 to 500 watt flex panel that's installed on the roof via the same system that the Tesla roof racks or any other car roof racks would use. This is a lockable system, so there is some sort of theft prevention involved. And then there's an optional set of stackable flex panels to go in the trunk that then increases the wattage from 400 up to 2000 watts, which is a significant, you know, size solar system. And so with data from the base model, Model 3, you can reach up to 60 miles of range per day. And then with the optional, the larger battery that we'll offer, you can then store 30 miles of charge. So not only can you, you know, get stuck and kind of reboot instantly, but you can charge your vehicle pretty substantially on a daily basis. You can cover more than what most commuters will drive in the US. So we do have a patent pending on you know, the design of the system and the charge flow. And so some more about the product. So these kits will be able to be self-installed. So you can actually charge the car while it's driving with the roof panel. And the way that this works is we connect through the interior of the charge port inside the trunk and basically install a Y splitter. And this is simple enough that, you know, the customer can do it. We worked with Lightyear Automotives out of the UK. They're developing a fully solar car as well, and they did their testing on the Model 3. So they gave us some early engineering help and some data points. And so most importantly, our kits won't void any manufacturer warranty because we're not messing with the battery management system. We're simply just charging the car in a different way. So incredibly important for a lot of these EVs that have terrific warranties. And so we'll offer a 6-year warranty on the solar panel and the battery tech ourselves. And then I always incorporate this last part because we really want people to understand that this is a lifestyle product. We don't want people to buy this thinking that there's some sort of charging ROI, which of course though there will be. But at the end of the day, this is really about doing more things with your EV. Once we have final numbers on the T1 prototype, then we can officially give, you know, estimates on ROI, saying if you drive X amount of miles per year, this pays for itself, things like that. But for now, we want to focus on use cases kind of like my own, where it's people who can't actually use their car for certain things because they're concerned about running out of charge. So this is really what the pricing has looked like. We're searching for manufacturers right now. So these are kind of like general estimates from the 12 plus manufacturers we've spoken with. So the Overland kit, which is the full kit, will cost less than $4,000. The weekender is the battery plus the extendable panels. This can be used for any electric vehicle because it doesn't come with a roof panel that needs to be, kind of custom cut. So that's probably going to be the best seller because it will enable people with, whether it's a Nissan Leaf or a BMW i3, people will be able to use this system and charge wherever. However, this is not the system that allows you to charge while driving. The Minimalist, which is shown there on the red car, that's kind of my favorite, and I think it will be really the halo product of the company. So this is battery plus roof panel. This will be the kind of set it and forget it plug and play system. We're expecting the MSRP to be below $2,000. And then we are developing, of course, a Cybertruck product with kind of new technology that will, cover the vault in solar panels and have several layers that can be extended on either side for camping and for different things, provide kind of a canopy. So here's kind of the company roadmap. We are the typical startup. We started with just a proof of concept in the garage and kind of ran with it from there, and it's been incredibly rewarding, and we've progressed very fast, and we have a lot of really awesome mentors and people backing us. And so right now we are in development of the T1 prototype. And so this phase should take about 4 months. And then we can get into manufacturing. And then after that, it'll be delivery. So realistic estimates are delivery in about 6 to 8 months. It really will depend on certain global politics and how fast we can get these shipped over. But that's a pretty firm timeline that we're really excited about. We'll probably be launching the pre-sales campaign here in about 2 months for people to reserve the first batch. And so if you get on our email chain, you'll actually be able to reserve one early on. And I am just seeing now that there are questions in the chat. Does the roof system affect the aerodynamics? Will you lose any range? No, these flex panels are actually about, I think it's half a centimeter to 3/4 of a centimeter thick, and they'll adhere perfectly to the glass. So you'll actually lose less range than having the Tesla certified roof racks on the car, which I believe their loss of range was only like, I think 2 miles in the grand scheme of like the long range. So incredibly insignificant. And then how much range do you get with the Minimalist roof panel alone without the extendable panels? So based off of our 6 available sunlight hours, you would get 14 miles per day. If you obviously are getting 8, you're going to increase that if you're getting less. But we base it on the U.S. average, which right now is 6 sunlight hours. Will there be a Minimalist system for the Leaf? Yes. So after we do the launch of the Halo product, all revenue will be redirected into R&D on making molds for other vehicles. We want to have a roof kit for pretty much every single EV that's sold in the global market, not just the US. What level of wind noise is experienced with the roof rack? Oh, absolutely none. So on my Model 3, I always have the Tesla roof racks installed, and there's some noticeable wind noise with that. But when I actually have the prototype on the car, there's absolutely no wind noise, which is definitely a bonus. That would be slightly annoying for everyone involved. So I just want to move into kind of future expansion. Where do we want to go after this, this Halo product is launched? So we want to develop a line of solar truck bed covers, not only for electric trucks like Rivian and like the Ford F-150 Lightning, but we want to develop them for ICE trucks as well. It's really important for fleet vehicles if they can charge tools that they're using at work site, things like that. Think of large companies, blue collar companies that are doing construction or maintenance or whatever they're doing. This actually allows us to help other industries electrify even quicker because they'll have a very reliable source of charging, and it'll be mobile too. So along with that, portable solar carports, basically making EV ownership as green and as easy as possible. Eventually, when looking at tech, what kind of tech do we offer, which for investments was kind of crucial. Where are we going to go? We want to really focus on developing an inverter that can go directly into the car's battery, so we don't need the second battery source to then control the charge going into the car's battery. And really, the way that we'll be able to do that is making partnerships with like Legacy Auto. and enabling people to, enabling them to design their cars in a more, efficient way to work with our solar panel kits, but really being able to offer our product as an OEM addition to a number of manufacturers. What is the efficiency rating of the solar panels? So we're using 25% efficiency solar panels. We're looking at a couple different brands right now, but they're all 25. They're all the top tier flex panels on the market. And then what is the kilowatt size of the battery? So right now we are looking at for the commuter package having just a 500 watt battery. So pretty small, because we want to make that kit as cheap and affordable as possible for the masses. And then for the full kit, we'll be looking at something about 4 kilowatt or greater. And again, that's still in testing. We want to get weights down. And then also we have to measure the size of the sub trunks on all these cars to make sure that things fit, especially with the panels. Okay, those are questions answered for now. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here at EV Solar Kits. And if you guys have any questions, love to answer them now. There's our contact info. You can send us anything later if it comes up, but really just excited to kind of share our progress with everyone today and kind of gather thoughts, and hopefully you guys are excited that we're kind of making something that can help out the electric vehicle market.
Well, cool, Steele. That really kind of covered the whole thing, and you were really able to keep up with the chat at the same time. That's great. And anybody else have any questions? Looks like we have another one there. Well, we got contact info and so forth. Cool.
So I had a question, and that is, I'm working with various groups on like policy and legislation and stuff around EVs, and one of the biggest issues I think that's out there is how to provide charging for people who don't have garages or dedicated parking spaces and stuff like that. I mean, it's huge, and obviously the government and other people are willing to spend billions of dollars on trying to figure this out so that we can really transition completely. And I've always kind of thought, well, knowing Aptera and Lightyear and all those things, I've always been a little leery about putting a whole bunch of money into lamppost charging and things like that if it's just going to be leapfrogged by solar vehicles.
Yeah.
And until now, I just thought, well, there are really only 3 that I know of solar vehicle companies. So maybe, we've got at least some time that we have to fill with these charging, lampposts and street charging and stuff like that. But now looking at this, I mean, I know it wasn't one of your use cases and you were talking about lifestyle and stuff like that, but it just seems like if people could get, charging just by parking their car outside. I know the extender is kind of big, but some way of doing that. Is that something that you guys are looking at, or?
Yeah, so yeah, a lot to talk about in that question. I think, while there is Aptera and Lightyear and these solar car companies, Lightyear has an incredibly expensive vehicle and a incredibly slow vehicle. And I think one big factor of people adopting the EVs is because they're fun to drive and they're fast. And when theirs goes 0 to 60 in 10 seconds and costs, $200,000, I don't think they're going to get a lot of people behind that. But I know they're working on a cheaper product. Aptera, well, I love it. It does look like a moonlander buggy, and they're asking people to adopt yet again to what the idea of a vehicle is, or electric vehicle at that. And I think you'll have a lot of people push back on the 3 wheels in terms of safety and things like that. But also it brings in the other question of, are we going to trust these automotive companies? It's their first car, and sometimes companies can come in and you know, knock it out of the park with their first car, like Lucid did. But then you have all these other companies that, you know, they're debuting these products and there's recalls and they're going to lose funding. And, you know, you look at Bollinger, which is having, you know, incredible issues. Just this morning, I think they're refunding everyone's pre-orders. So while there are solar cars in development, and that will absolutely push legacy auto to adopt faster, I still see 10 years before we have a significant amount of EVs using solar roofs. And that's, you know, Elon himself isn't really a fan of incorporating solar roofs on any of the Teslas because like what you're saying, there's charging available, but if you look at it, you know, some people don't want to park their car outside. Some people don't want to give up the panoramic roof, which is cool. But this isn't going to be for everyone. And I think that's why the aftermarket approach is really the best fit right now for the market.
So I've got a question, Steele. So I'm assuming there's a BMS system with your battery, and also how, I wasn't clear whether or not that tied into the Tesla battery, whether that was negated the warranty if it's tied in with the Tesla battery itself, or is there a wand that goes from your battery? Is that how you actually recharge from your battery system? And I'm assuming that's a lithium battery.
Yeah, so there will be a BMS on our device, but we're connecting via the inside of the charge port. So really the Tesla just thinks that it's being charged, you know, from a normal like wall socket, you know, 110. We actually do have the 220 capability on the larger battery, which is exciting. And also this, I forgot to mention this, all the batteries will be able to be easily removed. So if you are camping, if you are doing whatever, if, you know, power goes out, you can take the battery out of the car and it will have two 110 outlets, a 220 outlet, and then some USBs. So it does kind of cover the, you know, emergency battery pack as well. But you know, back to your question, no, it doesn't tamper with the Tesla battery management system at all, and that's how we're able to not void the warranty.
And then how do you secure the batteries in the car?
So right now we're working with the Model 3 specifically, and so it's going to be in the sub trunk of the vehicle. So you open the trunk and you remove that panel, and there's a nice little cubby down in there. And so we're going to make it exactly the length. I think it was like 14 inches. Jonathan is the engineer. So we're going to make it, you know, perfectly snug in there with fans so that it can, you know, it's not going to wobble around or fall out. And if you guys are familiar with the charging kit that you get when you buy a Tesla, it's got a really nice Velcro on the bottom so that when you place that in places, it's also not going to slide around. So the bottom will have that as well. So it's going to be, it'll be very secure.
So help me with a scenario. So, okay, so I'm driving a Tesla down the highway. I'm seeing that there's no places for me to charge. I've got a full battery in the back. So I have to pull over, recharge from your auxiliary battery. And how long does that take?
So depending on what kit you have, if you have the commuter kit, the battery will be constantly running through. So you can store charge in the battery, but you'll be receiving however much sunlight. So if it's in the middle of the day, you're going to be charging the vehicle while you're driving. Now, if you have the full kit with the extendable panels and somehow you hit zero, and you're on the side of the road, you pull that out, you charge for an hour, and you can make it to the supercharger. You know, this isn't a road tripping product. This is a alternative to charging at home, or if you can't charge at home, or if there's just, you know, nothing out there. So the commuter kit is really focused on, if I drive 5 miles to work and 5 miles back, I can cover my entire charging needs with this panel. That's really nice. Whereas the full kit is a much more off-grid camping. So really they're two different products.
For the large battery, are you considering having it able to charge off the grid if you needed to, take it out and plug it in if you're an apartment dweller or something like that, and give you 10 miles a day of range or whatever that number is?
Oh, I'm sorry, can you say that again? You broke up for the first part.
Oh, I say for the larger battery product, are you considering having a off-board charging capabilities? If you're an apartment dweller, you can plug it in, bring it in your house, plug it in, and then bring it out in the
Yeah,
morning.
so we definitely didn't design it that way, but you absolutely could do that. You could use it as just a solar battery setup, and then quick charge via the 220 into the car if you are in a covered parking garage. Yeah, you could absolutely do that.
Steele, with, I don't know where you're located, if you're in Colorado or somewhere else.
I'm actually in Austin, Texas.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you may have a condition down there of weather like we have here in Colorado where you're hit by hail.
Mhm.
So if you're outside, it would be nice to have something that would, like a solar car cover that would not only charge the vehicle or your auxiliary battery at the same time and give the car an overall level of protection.
Yeah. So one of the products that we have in our, I guess, future slide is a solar carport, a portable one at that. So you would order this product and it would really be like those 10 by 10 canopy covers. It'd be made out of, really, high quality materials. And instead of having a tent material, it would just be all solar flex panels. So that's something that we're definitely really looking forward to making, because myself coming over from, the residential solar industry, I know how, I guess, bureaucratic residential solar is treated in the US, and what a hassle it is to get it installed. And so if you can avoid all the craziness of, getting a home solar installed, including the very high price tag, just to charge your car, it would be a really neat function. Especially here in Austin too. A lot of the new homes they don't have garages. That's kind of the new architecture trend here. So everyone has these carports anyway. So it would be really nice to get a solar function in them.
If you make this carport somewhat portable, I would suggest that you use the weight of the car to actually keep it in place, because we can have winds out here. Recently in the Marshall fire event that happened at the end of December, we had 100-mile-an-hour winds in the area. So you don't want anything to go away on you once you hit those speeds.
Yeah, that would be smart to have it connect underneath so the weight of the car could hold it down, but also have it, mounted with stakes or, yeah, we would definitely have to have an entire brainstorming session on the best way to keep that secure. Mm-hmm. So someone asked, how hail resistant are the panels? So these are flex panels, which are actually a lot more protected than hard panels that go up on roofs. So I think actually this is a Colorado test. Colorado, the University of Colorado, I think it was one of the off campuses. They have a massive solar system on their campus, and a big hailstorm came in about 3 years ago, and they had about 20,000 panels. And after this hailstorm with, golf ball plus sized hail, they only had to replace 3 of them. So solar panels are actually really, really tough, really strong. And you'll be able to take this through the car wash. One problem people have with residential solar is once a year they have to pay somebody to get up there with a scrub brush and scrub all the debris off of them. But if you're washing your car once a month, you're going to take care of that yourself. So the efficiency will stay very high, and you don't have to worry about anything, rain or anything like that, affecting the production of the panels.
Steele, turn my camera on so you can see me. I actually work at the Renewable Energy Lab, and we have a whole department that does reliability testing, if that's anything you wanted to look into.
Oh, very cool. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would really appreciate it if you send us an email. I'd love to connect and have a different discussion.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, I'm just wondering about the connection with the car. You said you can charge while you're driving. So how are you tying into the charging system of the car?
Yeah, so if you enter, you open up the trunk and you peel back the panels on the left, you can actually access the interior of the charge port. And again, I am not the engineer. whatsoever. I am the guy they have show up and talk about the company. But you can install a splitter there and basically, manage. So the Tesla, the all-knowing Tesla will actually not know if you're charging through the actual exterior charge port, but because the lid isn't opened, it won't register as an error for the vehicle. So that's nice.
Okay, cool.
And what was that called? That was a flitter, you said? That's your
I'm
interface?
sorry, a splitter.
Splitter, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I've had 2 cups of coffee today. I might be talking a little fast.
Hey, Steele, I was wondering if you're looking at a frunk battery and string going out the front of the car for doubling
Yeah,
up.
absolutely. So we've thought about a lot of different ways to really get as much solar on the car itself for people who love the commuter kit, who don't want the pull-out panels. And we've thought about extending it down, the body line, the frame on the sides into a frunk panel. It's going to be a little harder to make that look clean, but we're definitely going to develop a frunk panel. It's just the wiring is really tricky. We don't want to have exposed wires, even if we tuck them into the grooves, because then that makes it a lot easier for somebody to come up with scissors and really ruin your day, which we all, sadly it happens. There's people like that, but having Sentry mode kind of combats that a little bit. We're definitely looking into it. We just haven't found a easy enough option to really want to incorporate it yet, but that will definitely be after we get this first mass order out. That will be a part of what we reinvest the funds in, that research and development on adding more solar to the commuter kit.
Okay, I was thinking more of having stackable flex panels come out from the frunk.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the frunk. I think on possibly like the Cybertruck or maybe even, the Model S and the Model X, that would be feasible. I think the frunk on the Model 3 is pretty small, and solar is really all about square footage, real estate. So it would be possibly a little too cut up, and we'd have to have too many wires going from panel to panel to make that work. But in the future, I think in the next 2 to 3 years, solar film will really have hit some great strides. And if you can store that a lot smaller than you can these flex panels. So if we can get to that point, then we would definitely look at a frunk option with solar film.
And one last question. I'm a big Zero electric motorcycle fan.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess there's some, storing the panels, maybe when it becomes thin film would work for maybe an FX out on the trails.
Yeah, so I had an Onyx motorbike, kind of the baby version of the Zero motorcycles, and I did think about that a lot. And I actually charged the Onyx bike with the early prototype, and so I kept thinking, like, how could we get panels on this? There's just no real estate. You could, there could be something where you store a panel on each side while you're riding, and then you can lift them up and set them there. And that will be a big market. That market will explode in the next 5 years because, you've only had one company, Zero, making these electric bikes, but now there's quite a number of them, especially over in Europe. I feel like I get targeted for a new ad every day for some electric motorcycle. That's definitely something that I would like to pursue in the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think on the front side of things, you might think of a replacement frunk lid that has all that built in and
That's
is
true.
lightweight, and then that would solve your wiring issues.
Yeah.
For the motorcycle enthusiast, I know for long trip camping kind of folks, they have trailers that go on the back of their bikes. So I can foresee some kind of fold out situation at the campsite to provide power.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I think, I think the farthest range they have on some of these Zero bikes is maybe 150 miles. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that makes it really hard to road trip with these kind of bikes. but that doesn't mean people wouldn't take them, you know, an hour away, go camping there. So yeah, that's definitely a product that would absolutely make sense. And yeah, if you can store it in the trailer, then that'd be perfect. Yeah. And in terms of the frunk, yeah, I've removed my frunk on a previous Model 3 to install a carbon fiber, and that's actually a really quite simple process. So replacing the frunk with some sort of solar, you know, composite material. I don't know if that's cost effective in the long run, but we can look into some sort of covering for sure. And then about what percentage of the trunk space in the Model 3 do the panels take up? This sounds like a couple of festivals I camp at yearly. Cars are always packed. Yeah. So luckily, these panels are extremely thin. So even if you have 8 of them in there, I mean, it's really only going to be about yay thick, you know, I'd say 4 inches. So you're gonna be able to put things on top of them. There's no risk in harming them. They can bend almost 360 degrees. So it's not gonna take up that much space. And especially if you have the battery in the sub trunk, you'll have room for tents, all that. It's not gonna take up that much space.
Cool.
And so someone said when it gets this self-driving option to level 5, you can cover the windshield and the panels. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Again, if we're able to cooperate with manufacturers, what we would do is you'd have the hood, you'd have the roof, you'd also have the dash. The dash is something that a lot of people don't realize, but that gets tons of sun, and there's just some plastic material there anyway. But again, from an aftermarket perspective, you have to figure out a way to connect all these things, and that's really difficult. And then you'd have the small area on the trunk. And when we totaled up all the square footage, you could get something like 800 to 900 watts of solar just on the Model 3. So, you know, that would be a much different company. You'd have to install it professionally, bring your car in, but there's a way to get quite a bit of charge just out of the surface area of the car.
I like the table idea. I do car shows with the green car, and I'm often asked, you know, why don't you have solar on your car? And I say, well, because, you know, it comes in so much space, I'd have to bring a trailer along, and I don't.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool article out there about a guy who had a really long trailer with I think 3,000 watt solar setup behind it. And he tested it on a road trip to see how much he would lose towing it versus how much he would gain. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that there's so many people out there trying to do a homemade version of this because it can work. And so we're really excited to make a full production version that will be easily installable, and we can get this out to people.
We had a guy here in Colorado, in Arvada, that actually had a business, and I haven't seen him recently, so evidently it just didn't pan out for him. But he had solar on trailers and was building them for different things. So.
It's very cool. It's neat how handy people can be and how innovative they can be on their own. I wish I had the engineering or electrical engineering skills to do that myself.
Yeah, me too. As you can see, I don't even have the skill to get a camera working.
Yeah. And then somebody asked, can you use this on a Model Y? So the Model Y roof is actually different. It will be a really easy transition just to make a different mold for that. But the roof racks won't fit, just like how you have to buy separate roof racks for the 3 versus the Y. But that'll be, again, that'll probably be the second mold we make after the 3, because we're just going based on pure numbers of ownership. Yeah, a backpack solar kit would be awesome for motorcycles. Again, the thinner they make them, the more you can pack up, and that will really be how you can get the motorcycle solar powered. So when talking about efficiency of solar panels, this is something that I'm kind of fascinated by. So we're at this 25, maybe 27 with hard panel % efficiency, whereas 10 years ago we were at 18. However, there are panels in production, not in production. There are panels being tested by LG and Solaria and some of these really top end solar companies that have 45, 48% efficiency. And that won't be commercially available on the market for probably 10 years. And that's just based on how long it took us to get from, 18 to 25 or even 10 to 25. It's very difficult to develop, hyper efficient cells, and it's extremely expensive. So it will get there one day, but I don't anticipate us using anything better than 27% efficiency while this company is making these kits. Yeah. And then I'll put your company forward to Jet. Just disrupt the investment channel on their Now You Know podcast. Oh yeah, Kevin, that would be terrific. Again, email me at info@evsolarkits.com. I just sent it in the chat again. And that goes directly to Jonathan and myself. But that would be terrific. Yeah, we've had a number of Tesla and EV influencers reach out. I did an interview with an Aptera ambassador, which was really fun. So we're always looking for for more exposure and just to kind of get people to know about these products and really at the end of the day show that people want automotive solar. And so I think really the mission of this company is to signal to legacy automotive that this is a viable product. Awesome. Well, if there's no more questions, thank you guys so much for inviting me to come talk to you. I appreciate all the questions, the ideas. This has been a really, really fantastic Zoom call. And, I can't say that very often. So thank you guys.
I actually have one more just comment, basically, Steele. So there's a number of us, we're kind of DIY, hands-on, some are engineers. I'm a retired applied technology high school teacher. And so, I just basically tuned in to see what your ideas were and how I could adapt them to do it myself, to be honest with you. So, the project car, project vehicle that I have is a small pickup truck, which would lend itself with you brought up the idea of having a cover on the back of the bed, and that's exactly what I was, anticipating in the future as a way to not only use my truck to the battery to power a small cabin, but also to use it for transportation. And my cabin is off grid, so that's something where if I can get a dual purpose out of it, that would meet my needs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'd be interested in seeing what type of kits that you could come up with for trucks that could be retrofitted into a DIY build or something like that line.
Definitely. I know the Ford system, they're all excited about having the F-150 be able to charge other electric vehicles, and by other electric vehicles they mean the Mach-E, since they only have one. But that's a terrific function. I hope Tesla moves in that direction. Anybody in the Austin area, just myself, but with the winter storm when we lost power, that would have been incredibly useful for a lot of Texans. And you guys have storms too, so it's the same there. Realistically, they can the auto manufacturers can make that easy, but you still have to have some sort of retrofitting on your home, which is the difficult part. So it's difficult to, okay, I just bought this car and now I have to have $3,000 worth of electrical equipment installed so that I can maybe charge it on the off chance that I lose power. So, it's one product affects the other, which affects the other, which affects the whole market. And so, in Austin, which is very, is very progressive, is very eco-friendly. There are a lot of home manufacturers who are saying every home is going to be solar capable. And I think that, even further than that, they should have every home be able to receive charge from a number of different, devices. I know California, they just made it a law that every new commercial building manufactured has to have solar, and every new home has to have solar capability. And so I think it's only a matter of time before we're able to, really make that, a possibility nationwide. Elon was staying with someone in Austin during that storm in his friend's home last power for 3 days. Yeah. Elon's $50,000 house on Starbase is rarely used. He's usually in the mansions in Austin, but I can't blame them. So.
Well, Steele, we want to thank you for taking the time on a Saturday morning to chat with us and give us a view of the situation of your company. It sounds interesting. Sounds like you should be able to, you know, provide a good service there for people that want to do a little bit of that add-on to make life a little easier.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure meeting everybody, and hopefully I can pop back into some of these meetings in the future and see what other awesome things that you guys are sharing.
Okay, you'll be on our mailing list, so you'll see our newsletter as it comes out and so forth.
Terrific. All right. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, and thank you.
Ciao.
David, when will the recording of this interview